Now, the big question is, in that huge HTML document, how do I get a hold of this piece, that little bit right there, and, well, that bit independently? So like I said, the key to this is CSS, and let's try to use our web browser developer tools to figure this out. So we can come over here and right click on Portland and say inspect element. So here you can see in this div up here, we've got an ID of location. So we would start with location, and then we have this contained within an H1, and then there's the actual element that we want. So we're going to write some code that comes in here and grabs this element, this div, and looks inside of there for its H1, and within the H1, it's going to grab just the text. Now, if the website we're working with happens to use jQuery, it will let us test this in a really nice way. So remember ID location. Let's go over here to the console. And the way you can tell if this is jQuery or not is you hit $, and then you hit enter. If that doesn't come up as not found or none or something, then you have jQuery. So this lets us test our expressions. So I can come down here and say, I'm looking for a div with the ID, and CSS, you say hash for ID, and it was the location, and then a sub item, so put a space, of node H1. And I can just write out the text and see what that is. Let's see if this will work. Boom. Okay, so if I was given that in Python, I could definitely do a little string work to get that out of it. So this div hash location is what we can work in. In fact, we could keep it simpler like this. Just hash location for the ID of location, and then space subitem H1. Similarly, let's look at the other ones here. So overcast, inspect element. This is going to be within current condition. And if you look at current condition, you can see it has this WX value inside of it. We had the ID of current condition, and within there we had a class. Notice the class of WX value. Now classes in CSS start with a dot, remember? ID, class. And we put the space to say the thing with the ID current condition contains the thing with class WX value. And then we can do text and see what comes out there. Overcast. Okay, that's looking good. And if we go back here and look at this one, we have current temp, WX data, and then value and unit for those two pieces. So we're going to be able to use all that information to grab exactly the little bits that we want right there out of the HTML. So just for our reference here, let me paste these, which I've grabbed and formatted for you. So we have them right here to work with while we're building this method out. So the next thing to do will be to use Beautiful Soup to actually do something kind of like we did with jQuery in the browser, but we're going to do it in memory in Python.